New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Department of Transportation is suing Southwest Airlines for chronically delayed flights and fining Frontier $650,000 for similar issues. This follows a $2 million fine against JetBlue earlier this month. Speaker Mike Johnson is replacing Mike Turner as House Intelligence Committee chairman, stating it's a House decision for fresh leadership. Turner will remain on the panel with a replacement announcement expected today. A woman has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs of raping her when she was 16. She claims he offered her a ride, gave her a drink that made her feel groggy, and then raped her. This is one of over 30 similar suits against him. And Comic-Con International will stay in San Diego, California through 2027, supporting local businesses and showcasing the city globally. Last year, over 130,000 attendees brought in more than $160 million in revenue. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers had the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans. 6 minutes past the top of the hour. Dr. Wide, OT, the early bird, Nyron on the box. Hey, as always, man, our hearts and prayers go out to every family, the loss of loved ones, whether it's here in Louisiana, New Orleans, or what we're dealing with, the wildfires in California, or in the Middle East, man. And so glad that there's a ceasefire. Too many innocents been killed, been caught in the middle of warring governments and warring interests. So
yeah, and the crazy thing about it, while we're celebrating the idea that we're negotiating a ceasefire, we have a former president and a current president fighting for the credit. And I've never seen where a sitting president doesn't receive the credit for negotiation talks between dueling.
And the sitting...
I've never seen that before. Have you?
The sitting president was actually gracious and including whatever.
Right. He didn't even have to share that.
Like, whatever.
But it's the disrespect, though, because imagine somebody from the press corps asking, do you believe it's you or former President Trump that should be President Biden looked around and said, is that a joke? I actually liked his response because certain things you just shouldn't even entertain with the response. A member of the press corps asked him that as he's giving the brief. What?
Yeah.
We politicize every single thing in this country. Everything is politicized.
Yeah, and that's just my thought too. I actually wrote that about another issue to a journalist, in the way politicians and parties and people who are involved in politics. And I wrote, everything can't be political today, but it seems like
everything is.
It seems like
we might as well stop saying it's not, because that's the thought I used to have, because I didn't understand the politics of everything. But now it's like no matter what we're talking about, politics is involved.
And let me tell you what it get more interesting, because it happened to me,
Mhm.
especially since I started doing this show. Right, you're going to begin to meet people, read reports, and do research that'll give you a whole nother set of information and knowledge, and people will be out there disputing that. And you read the report, you talked to the person, you got the information, and you'll find out, and people will still hold on to beliefs or not even facts.
I don't think they're holding on to a belief. I think they just want to.
They just want
that they
Yeah.
want. They want to disagree,
yeah,
and it
they
doesn't
just
matter
want to.
if they're disagreeing with
Right.
non-facts. They
Right.
just want
They
to
just want to.
disagree, because I think about that when I'm watching these confirmation hearings.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what they're asking these folk,
It's
they
combative.
have points that they're trained
it's
already
scripted,
to
yeah.
say, and it doesn't even match the question that's being asked.
And it's almost like many of them are looking for a fight
Yeah,
because they know that's what people.
because that's going to make the news.
Yeah.
And then the real issue is going to
Yeah.
be hidden underneath the foolishness.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why a lot of them do what they do. When folk are talking actual issues, they bring up something to dictate what the narrative is going to be in the media. I think that's the only reason why the not so gentle lady from South Carolina said what she said to Representative Jasmine Crockett. It wasn't about the issue. It was about you wanted to sensationalize anything you could say so you can be the talk of the media, because it's attention that they're
Let's
seeking.
Step outside.
Yeah. Where you from, Oliver? Where you from?
You already know.
I'm just saying, where you from? Because if I ask you, we could take it outside if that's what you
Yeah,
want to do. What I'm
yeah.
asking you to do,
I'm
I'm sure not asking you to go outside and
No.
let's kumbaya, right?
No.
So we know if that comment had come from Representative Jasmine Crockett towards her,
Right.
the way they
There was
handled
a
it
level-
would have been so
there was a
different.
level of disrespect.
Do you know the chairperson actually said you can threaten somebody as long as you put it in a form of a question? Because Nancy said we can take it outside if that's what you want to do. He said because it was in the form of a question, it's not. It was okay.
Well, I watched.
Are you serious?
I watched Bondi's response. It's almost she was looking for confrontation.
Her face came looking for a confrontation.
Yeah,
Her
she-
face,
yeah,
like
she-
her
yeah,
face.
Yeah, she was looking.
It-
for
It's the. I
confrontation.
mean, she had on this oversized suit. I was just trying to figure out, like, what we would never show up like that. Like, I just don't understand.
No.
The attorney general.
No.
She's being
She
a
was-
confirmation hearing
yeah.
to be the attorney
Looking
general,
for confrontation.
and she can't. Her whole the way she
It's
looked.
gonna be a heck of a 4 years.
And I think all of them have been given their marching orders in terms of responses, like canned responses. You
They're
know how
ready
you
to
go on
go-
a thing, you do a
they-
little drop down, and you see your
They-
choices.
They're ready to go to war.
They are, and they can't wait.
That's a good point.
They can't wait until
They're
inauguration
ready to
day,
go to war.
because if we think it's bad now, when they have the full support of their commander in chief, this is about to be something that it's going to be even worse than what we ever thought we could imagine.
Well, guys, for our listening audience out there, 504-582-9422, we've gone from international now to national, and I think you're right. You know, I watched the posture, some of it. A lot of it was almost to me as if, you know, when you talk about being threatening, you right, especially where we come from.
Yeah.
You came in there with your Daniel Greens on.
You remember when
You
Ketanji Brown
literally-
was being confirmed, right?
Yeah.
She was almost she had a respect for the panel, like a poise.
That is
it
absolutely correct.
wasn't adversarial. She even responded to them with their titles before
Great
she,
point.
you know what I mean?
Great
But
point.
we're asked to be that, and
Great
they can
point.
come up in there and be demonstrative. They could be aggressive,
Great point.
right? Just like Sonny said
Great
on The
point.
View. Sonny said, Black women have always been painted with this mad black woman trope, but nobody called Nancy Mace a mad white woman
A Bondi.
because she actually asked this lady to take it outside.
Right.
And nobody painted her with this aggression.
Marjorie
With-
Greene.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene,
And she bowed down.
she went there just to do what
she
she's
bowed down.
doing. Has nothing based in fact. She just throws out all of
Just
these.
throws out, threatened.
Yeah. Openly.
Yeah.
And I don't, and here, listen, where I'm from, I don't think that anybody could ever take those words lightly or try to turn around and say, this is what she actually meant. No, we know what she meant. Do you know they allow her to say, oh, I just meant let's take the conversation off the floor? That's not what you meant. So, how is it that I feel like we're living in a simulation? This gotta be
potato.
Listen.
But it's really a peach.
The FIGHT is only spelled that one way, and there's only listen. She was inviting her to a fight. That's what she was doing. That was a threat.
Yeah.
Because when we take it outside, what we gonna do? We can't talk about the issues. There's no mic.
No.
We can't. What we going outside for?
No. Settle.
Yeah, you saw that episode of Martin when Miss Trinidad was messing with Martin, trying to push up on Martin, and Gina came to that house with the Vaseline and her
with her slippers on,
shoes. Like, take it outside. There's no way to fix that up, and I feel like this is what the tone of the country is going to be about.
I think first of all,
unchained aggression.
Yeah, thank you for actually painting a picture, because some of us were looking at the entertainment and we're looking at the confrontation, but not really thinking in terms of it's just not about the hearing. It's about the state of the country and how we're gonna or not gonna work together moving forward.
Yeah, because they could say what they want. There's no unity in those rooms.
President-elect Trump said that his success will be his retribution. Well, it's obvious that's
a threat too. That's a threat. That's why all the companies are rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion, because they're afraid to be targeted by him. Yeah. That's a threat too. So if your commander in chief is doling out threats unchecked, what makes you think those he's putting in cabinet positions aren't going to openly threaten folk? Like, this is going to be a strong arm government, and we just have to sit here and take it. Is that what this country has come to?
Yes.
And you want me to still talk about something with liberty and justice for all? Stop it. Yeah. Stop it.
Well, it's a sad state of affairs if we have to look forward to, and it's going to be a heck of an environment if that's the way the country's going to be run and going to be managed. There would be no sense of semblance of everybody coming together, collaborating on the issues that we deal with, like the local issue with homeless.
Yeah.
And the fact that inflation and the inability to survive rising costs and limited opportunity.
So now that I have you here, can I pick your brain for a second? Because I'm confusion, right? And I said it on purpose. I am confusion.
Yeah.
What I'm having a hard time with is when I read the article, because I do not think the governor is hiding whatever his intent is. No. He plainly said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that it's about, making certain that we could do what we need to do in preparation for the Super Bowl. So you're going to move these people to a warehouse in Gentilly. One, I want to know why Gentilly, because you're not moving them out of Gentilly. So why are you moving them to Gentilly?
Right.
Is there not a warehouse wherever they are currently setting up shop?
Yeah.
So that's my first question. Why Gentilly, right? Because I could think of a number of communities that you wouldn't have even thought about putting a homeless warehouse with no plan of action as to how long they're going to be there, where they're going to go after the fact. None of that. You're just going to unleash them on an unsuspecting community and just say, y'all figure it out. I'm confused about why Gentilly. And my second thing is, so when Super Bowl passes and all of your tourists and all of your nice,
what happens?
Friendly out-of-towners leave, they close up shop and leave, then what happens to those human beings that you've housed in a warehouse in an area that they were not set up originally? So these are the two pressing things that I have to understand. Do we not have a plan of transition for them once Super Bowl is over? Are they not human? Do they not require our dignity?
Well, I think that part, Doc, and let's stay there, right? Because I think that's important. We have a mutual friend who's involved in homelessness, spends a lot of her time. That's what she does. Intellectual, very qualified person, but that's her piece. That's what and she really was really upset in terms of her text to me, in terms of just that part of it, right? Once again, you're still dealing with human lives.
Yes.
So they're out of sight now, but are they out of mind and out of our soul? And what happens next? And why wasn't there a level of collaboration and planning, right?
Yeah. Because if you thought enough to put them in this warehouse, did you stop thinking? Did the thought stop there?
You could have thought, and
I don't know, Oliver.
And the thing to me was and where you're going is extremely important, because evidently there was a plan to move them, but was there a plan to help them? And if you thought long enough to have a plan to do that, because that took some manpower.
Absolutely. There was a meeting. Several people were at the table.
And it takes some resources.
Yes.
Then why couldn't you have a public plan to tell us what's next?
Yeah. And that's what I want to know. Like,
and
I want to know that those are basic.
That's a humane thing.
That's a humane thing, and I'm not homeless.
I said on the news
my child
yesterday,
is not homeless, but I still care.
Matthew 25, 35,
I still care
36.
that you're talking about moving people. Because see, this is what village mentality is to me. It doesn't have to personally impact my life or my household, but for you to, first of all, that's all the belongings those people have in this world, and people are just so careless of just picking it up, tossing it. It means nothing to you, but it means everything to them. That blanket means everything to them. That tent means everything to them. And you're just so carelessly throwing it away because you have a job to do. Certain jobs require you to push the envelope and just ask why. Like, why we have to throw their things away so inhumanely? Why can't we allow them to pack it up and then we move them wherever we need them to go? A lot of those folk out there are dealing with mental health issues where they have those sort of services, where they have access.
PTSD.
Right? Anything.
Addiction.
But then the moment they
Domestic
react
violence.
violently, you're probably going to kill them. But you don't understand that something is triggering them, and the way you touch them or the way you approach them might not be the best thing. Are you going to bring crisis workers with you while you're just so inhumanely shoving people into a warehouse? Might I add an empty warehouse? I don't see a bed, a cot, or nothing. I don't see anything.
Well,
are they going to make it up? Like,
I will say this for disclosure.
Help me.
The woman who I think was supposed to oversee, and I haven't had a chance, but she's from here. She's one of the leading people on homeless kids and homeless families. I didn't know she was involved. When we started questioning it, she called me to say, hey, man, she was thrust into the middle of this. She's going to try to get it right. But I think the part that you laid out is extremely important, is that it's obvious you had a plan to move them. So if there was time to have a plan to move them, you should have had a time to have a public plan to talk about what you're going to do with them afterwards.
And how come our leaders weren't at the table with this plan?
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
talked
even
about
have to
that
have
on
the
news
whole
yesterday.
council if you don't want the whole council. But why not go get the president or vice president and say, listen, this is what we're thinking about. Can you give us some insight as to if this is a viable plan, or what are your thoughts in terms of implementing this plan? But this seems like a rogue government just coming in and just dictating to the city what needs to be done. And then the city doesn't even seem to have a say.
Well, it seems to consistently, and I've said this before, and I'll continue, consistently disrespect of our home rule charter. At some point.
So do we even need a home rule charter? What is the purpose of it existing if it cannot be upheld or respected?
What did our friends send to me? First they came for this one, then they came for that one, and then they came for this one, and then they came for you.
Well,
and so at some point,
I'm just trying to understand, how does this go? If there's protocols and policies and charters and agreements, and what's the point of all of these things if people in government can just circumvent all of the laws and procedures and policies and charters? What's the purpose of it then? And then you have no veto power? Do we have a lame duck government here in New Orleans?
Well, at some point, somebody's got to say, well, can we take it outside? 504-582.
If that's what you want to do.
9422. WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking
I
about.
told you our conversations always get back to the perk. Whose station?
Our station.
Yes, it is.
On last week's From the Press Box to Press Row with Donald Ware.
For the Commanders, when we talk about great receivers in the National Football League, we rarely talk about Terry McLaurin. 5 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving, and even in his first season, he had like 920 yards receiving. So this is a guy that, since he's come into the National Football League, that has also gotten it done. But really, the key to the Commanders this year has really been Jayden Daniels and some of the things that he's been able to do, why this team is in the position that it's in.
From the press box to press row as one of the hottest sports talk shows in the country. Join Donald each week as he takes you on a journey through the world of HBCU sports and pro sports and interviews with top sports and entertainment figures. That's from the press box to press row.
Fridays at 6 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A bicyclist is dead after being hit by a car in Mid-City. We're told this happened on Tulane Avenue near South Lopez Street around 10 p.m. Investigators say a woman died from her injuries. We're told the driver who hit her stayed at the scene. Right now it's unclear what caused the deadly collision. Then the fate of the long-blighted Plaza Tower could be determined today. City leaders say they have been trying to get inside the building for inspections, but those efforts were halted by a lawsuit. All of this with the Super Bowl just weeks away. A circuit court judge is expected to rule on if the building can be cleared for inspection later today. And in federal court, a key player in the Stage Rex investigation is expected to change his plea from not guilty to guilty. Ryan Harris was charged with witness tampering linked to the killing of a federal witness. He is accused of working with local lawyers to stage wrecks and collect fraudulent insurance payouts. Sources say if Harris changes his plea, it could mean he's cooperating with the feds against others who have been charged. And finally, a benefit concert is happening tonight at the Dewdrop Inn for victims of the Bourbon Street terror attack. Trombone Shorty, PJ Morton, and many others will perform starting at 6 o'clock. That's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tony Flowers, Chief Diversity and Social Responsibility Officer at LCMC Health, and I want to bring you 5 tips to know for a great medical appointment. Number 1, know your questions. Make a short list of your most important questions and bring that with you to your appointment. Number 2, know what's being said. Ask your provider to speak in plain language, not those big long terms. Number 3, know the wellness plan. Ask your provider to explain the plan for your care in 3 simple steps. Number 4, know why the plan is important. Ask your provider to explain what will happen if you forget to follow the plan. And number 5, know your medications. Ask these questions to understand your medication. Why am I taking this? How will it help my condition? What time should I take it? What will happen if I miss a dose? We want you to build a great partnership with your providers and be in the know about your health. This is brought to you through a partnership of LCMC Health and the New Orleans Health Department. Be in the know.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning. Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. OT, Dr. Wyatt, the early bird, Nyron, on the box.
I have something to say quick, OT. I don't want to cut you off, but I see Representative Alonzo Knox is in the comments on WBOK, and I'll talk directly to him.
Yeah.
But his comment says, please do research. I guess he meant it's weird that some want us to be angry about giving homeless people shelter. That's not what we're angry about.
That's not the
like
case.
I don't like when people
Rep.
conflate issues
Yeah,
here.
Rep, that's not the issue.
We're not angry about shelter. I was very specific
Yeah.
about what I said, and I'm gonna repeat it in case
Yeah.
somebody missed it. What I said was, we're gonna move homeless folk inhumanely, just with no input from our local government, into a warehouse in a part of the city that they were not housed at to begin with. Right? That's my first thing. My question was, why Gentilly? And my second point was, okay, so when we transition them into this warehouse for Super Bowl, then on the day after Super Bowl, what's the plan for those human beings that we've housed in a temporary warehouse? That is what I said. I'm not angry about you giving them shelter.
No.
But guess what? A cardboard box could be shelter for some people. What I'm asking is, because if that's the case, their tent was shelter. They had shelter.
Right.
In their mind, it was theirs.
Right.
So what is the plan? Since we're talking about do research, like I don't like when people try to be insulting when people have actual critical questions.
Well,
and then he's welcome to come take the third seat over here and let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I'll call in 504-582-9422. The one thing, Rep, that we've been consistent here is that, and just remind, it's talk show we talk.
Yeah. And it's news.
But we make sense when we talk, and it's rarely is it willy-nilly. Sometimes there's a little emotion.
A lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Because people being thrown into warehouses. And our temperatures are supposed to drop into the teens coming up.
Yeah.
Like, what's the plan?
Tempered with intellect. The foundation when we started this conversation was what's next? And if there's planning going into moving, if there's planning going into relocating, then what is so difficult about having a mid-range, a long-term plan about what are you going to do the day after someone's a Super Bowl champion?
And that Representative Knox, the number is 504-582-9422 because he's having conversations in the chat. He's saying what evidence they've been moved inhumanely. Well, the video of the people yanking their things and throwing them in the trash, I don't think that's humanely. I watched the video.
Well, let me deal with this. And
I watched it.
And Rep, I hope you're listening. If you remember, maybe over a year ago, when the news showed the video of the confrontation that I supposedly got into with the homeless person, and I found a bunch of machetes, and the reason for that was that me and this person got into a conversation where he was cussing me out in front of my son, and he was posting up around my house. So I got chastised by many folk because of the way I handled it, and I went back to throw his stuff away. I was told that I was actually in violation of his rights by piling up his stuff.
So now he don't have no rights? They don't have no rights no more?
And throwing, that's what I was told, Rep. So I was told, man, you better be careful because you cannot just go get somebody's stuff just because it's out on the public right of way and throw that stuff away.
Well, I'm gonna let you have this conversation. You can handle it because I don't want. I just don't. And then the rest of his comments say, where was the outrage when they were in Treme 7 in the 7 war? There's always been outrage about how we've handled our unhoused individuals.
Yeah, that was news.
We've always had outrage, but my outrage now is the fact that we're literally making a plan to satisfy an event. But then what is the rest of the plan when the event is over?
And no one has an issue or a problem with providing shelter.
No, indeed.
The question or the foundation of the question is, what happens next? And so, is it okay after the Super Bowl that when they discontinue funding the shelter, that they go back to where they were?
And I also had an issue during one of the events when they moved them from one part of the under the bridge to a different part of under the bridge. I had a problem with that as well.
Let's go to the line. 504-582-9422. We love healthy discussions. We really do. You got a couple good debaters here. Line number one, Larry. You're on with the debaters.
Hi, Dr. White.
Hey, Larry.
Look. My thing is, whose district is that, and why haven't we heard the outcry from the person whose district it's in, Oliver?
I think that's District D. I think that's Councilmember Green. I can't speak for him.
The district where they're going.
To the district,
yes.
The district,
where they're going is
District
absolutely his district.
D,
yes.
Yeah.
I know it's not correct to speak about your co-workers or the other people on the city council, but I haven't heard an outcry from Mr. Green. Is that unusual?
No. I look. I don't know what conversations he's had in terms of preparation, so I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna jump in that water. I know he has had some concern about who, what, where.
We haven't heard the outcry. Look, seems like Dr. Wyatt should be over that district because she's really upset, and so am I. And I don't see that kind of outrage from the district person that's in control of that district. That's Councilman Green. Y'all, it has to be a reason why not. If it was my district, I'd say no. I'll be on television speaking in behalf,
right?
So people can see me on the media and say, "Man, that's not in my backyard," as they say. Not in my backyard.
Well, I'm gonna ask him for you, Larry. So
please do, Oliver.
Matter of fact, we'll invite him maybe to call in during the break. I'll ask him to call in when we go on the break. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Bye, Dr.
Appreciate you.
Bye, Larry.
And hey, man. Hey, always on the Good Morning Show. Line number 2, Representative Alonzo Knox.
Good morning.
God bless. Good morning. Rep Knox, you're on with Dr. Wyatt No T.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We're good.
Man, we're doing great, Rep. We're doing what we do, man. Talk show.
Hey, look, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
When my comments said research, it wasn't intended to be insulted.
Okay.
It was intended to say get all the facts. Simple and basic.
Mm-hmm. So answer this question, too, bro. First of all, thank you for calling in, man. We definitely appreciate that. When we set the tone for this conversation, and we have the tape, it can say our question was, what's next? So after the roundup, after this shelter, is it short term, midterm, long term? What happens next? So if you're understand what their long term or midterm plan is, so what happens after this or after the Super Bowl?
Well, let me say this. I'm not calling in to defend the governor or anyone.
Okay.
What I'm calling in is to express a viewpoint that there's a bizarreness, that there's an outrage that a temporary shelter, because that's my understanding, it's a temporary shelter that is to last through Mardi Gras. That's what was announced in the public, and to my understanding, that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to understand, what is the outrage about shelter placed on state-owned land to house vulnerable homeless people when we have forecasts of freezing weather and the homeless people are in these encampments in neighborhoods all across this city, and they don't have any food to eat. They don't have any heat. They don't have any access to storage. They're out there in the element, and the alternative that's being proposed is to move them into a shelter, give them 3 meals a day, give them wraparound services so that they can have treatment for mental health illness, treatment for addiction, wraparound services that's going to address their basic needs. So I'm trying to understand, what is it that I'm supposed to be outraged about when we're providing them temporary housing?
So
what's going to happen afterwards? Yeah. That's a conversation and a debate to be had then. And I'm more than happy to have it.
Yes,
but it seems odd and weird that you want me and other people to be upset about all these encampments.
No one said
Nobody
that.
wants an encampment in their neighborhood. Nobody wants it, and I don't hear anybody talking about.
So walk with me here, Rep.
I love
now.
these people so much.
You know you can't out-talk us on our talk show. That because we'll keep making our point even when you're gone. So
I don't have a problem with that.
But walk with me here. So who's been more outspoken in the middle of this homeless issue, fighting for your district, fighting for human rights for people? And the thing you just said is that they didn't let you know what the plan was? The state officials didn't come talk to you to say, hey, look, Rep. Knox, you've been in the middle of this. You've been fighting for the community. Here's our plan. Here's what we want to do, and here's what's next. So when you opened up, you said, I can't defend the governor's plan or the state's plan, whether it should have included you or somebody here in the plan. Correct?
Is that a question or a statement? I
No,
didn't get the question.
that's a question. I think it's in terms of your voice and your fight for people. I don't think anybody's been more on point than you. It would have seemed to me the level of respect would have been that, especially as a state official, that they should have let some state official know this is what we're doing long term, short term, midterm, any term.
I don't disagree that there should have been better communications or long-term collaborations about this. I don't have any disagreement with that. What I have a disagreement about is the fact that it seems as though some people, some of your colleagues, want people in the community to be upset about giving homeless people shelter.
Can I speak now?
Yeah. No,
Can I speak?
Well, I think you're misreading that, but
let me speak, because I don't know who the some people are, but I'm the person that started this conversation by saying I have a problem with folk coming from outside of our city dictating to our city government what should happen in this city without buy-in from our elected officials. It's so crazy how folk don't even know whose side that they're on their side when they have a response. I'm on the side of this city, and I'm on the side of this city's elected officials. There should not ever be a plan put in place for this city and its people that don't involve this city's local government. First and foremost, that's what I said. My second point was, why Gentili? I still haven't heard an answer to that, because everybody just want to fight and disagree with what you say when they don't even hear what you say. I say, why Gentili? And my second point was, what's going to happen after the fact? Nowhere in my commentary did I have an issue with them being housed. That is not ever what I said. I don't, and I'm not mad, or I don't want anybody else to be mad. I have righteous anger all on my own. I'm not asking you to be angry. I'm not asking you to be emotional. All I did was espouse my views and my opinion, and somehow, somewhere, it was miscommunicated or misheard, or that I had a problem with homeless people being housed. Dr. Wyatt never said it. I said, why Gentili?
And I never said you said.
I said no. What you said was some people want you and other people to be angry. I don't know who the some people are. I don't know who the some people are. Rep.
Are you internalizing it?
No, listen, I'm not internalizing anything. I'm repeating what you said. So I don't know who the some people are, but what I'm saying is the conversation was being had in the WBOK chat based on what we were saying on the show. So I brought your comments to the microphone, because what I want you to know is I am not your adversary. I'm actually on your side. I'm actually supporting you.
Absolutely.
And you and I should be on the same side fighting against a state government that want to come up in New Orleans and do what they want to do. That was my point. And I asked why Gentili, because if we're going to house them somewhere, why not house them where they already were? Like, was there not a warehouse in this area where they already were that we could have put them in? Or how come we didn't put them in a warehouse before Super Bowl was coming here? These are my questions that I want to ask. And I don't have to ask them to you. I'll ask them to Governor Landry if he wants to call in and sit in the seat. Or maybe Shane can call in and tell us, somebody from the governor's office, maybe the attorney general, why is the plan not including local elected officials like our mayor and our city council? And then what is the rest of the transition plan? That's all I ask, Rep. I'm not mad with you. I'm not mad with anybody. All I want to know is, what's the continuation of the plan? That's it. Because the article said, Rep, the article said that the governor said this is in preparation for the Super Bowl. So my question is, what happens after the fact? Rep, that's all I was saying.
That's a good question.
That was it.
Go ahead,
That's a good question, and I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
That's a very good question.
Right.
You and I apparently seem to be on the same page.
We are.
Okay.
What I said was there are some people who may be politicizing this issue. There are some people, you asked the question, why Gentili? I can ask the question, do you want it in Treme? Do you want it in the 7th Ward? Do you want it in the 8th Ward? What I know about Gentili is that it's in an industrial area, away from residents in Gentili. That's what I know. What do you know? Because my understanding is it's not near neighbors.
So answer this question, Rep. So at what point...
Can you answer that question? My understanding and appreciation is that it's in an industrial area, away from neighbors and residential.
It's state property.
So the other alternative would be to put it in my neighborhood of Treme.
No. Let me be clear about something.
No one advocated.
Let me be clear about something.
Well,
I think that we have to have. I think that we have to have.
Let me ask my question and I answer your question. My question is, it's my understanding that it's in a warehouse in an industrial area on state land away from residential areas. Is that not the case?
So what?
Let me say this for real.
I think we're
no, wait. No, Rep, for real. You're a state elected official. You're asking us questions about an issue that the state started. So then my basic question to you, Representative Knox, is when are they going to brief you on what's next? And will you be willing to come share the what's next with us when the Super Bowl is over?
Absolutely. I'm calling in right now talking about it. Absolutely. See, one thing you ought to know about me, Councilman, and Dr. White, with all due respect, I don't run away or dodge from the difficult questions. I lean into it. That's why I'm on this show right now. So the question I ask is, if there's an issue with it being placed in Gentilly, and the location, as I understand and appreciate, is that it is far away from residential areas, that it is in an industrial area, in a warehouse, where it doesn't come into contact with neighbors. So what's the problem with that is what I'm trying to understand.
I think the problem is even in the way you're speaking about it being away from humanity is these people are not human. That's the problem. I don't care where you locate the warehouse. My question is,
well, I do.
But why do you do? The whole city belongs to us. So I'm not okay with it being in anybody's community if there's not a real plan for it. That's my question.
My constituents care where you're going to put it.
And my thing is, I'm not nobody's elected official, but I am a mother. And I can tell you right now, I've been on hard times before. I know what that feels like. And for people to treat folk inhumanely because they don't have the means or the resources,
we got another
is
call.
inhumane to me.
Being treated inhumanely.
Because we're putting them in a place with no real plan.
Well,
and you talk about all these wraparound services. I didn't hear any. I didn't read any of that in the article at all. I didn't read any of that. So you're giving us information that I don't have, and I appreciate that. But I didn't hear about wraparound services.
We also have another caller on the line, Rep. So we'll let you help transition us to the next caller, and we look forward.
You should come. You should come in and have a whole hour with us.
We look forward to the conversation. But so anything you want to close out this segment with, Rep?
Yeah, I just want to say I worked in homeless. I worked in homeless for 3 years. Part of my job was to go in these encampments every day for the Department of Veterans Affairs Homeless Program. I know what it's like to be in those encampments. The vulnerable people, most of them, if not half of them, are either mentally ill or drug addicted, first and foremost. Secondly, some of those people want help, but there's a good number who don't. Some of those people have the most respect that you wouldn't even believe, and some of them don't. If you go in the encampment right now, you're going to see a landmine and needles. If you go in there right now, you're going to see all kind of deplorable activity going on. There are some, and I say some in our community, who want to say encampments are safe. There are some who want to say those encampments are good neighbors. But the same people who are saying that, none of those individuals want an encampment to come on their block. When I ask the question, none of those individuals have ever gone into an encampment. Why? Because they're too scared to. None of those people, when they're under the bridge or when they're walking around in the community, breaking into cars, breaking into homes, they don't want it in their community, but they want to come out all of a sudden as if they pro-advocate for these homeless people. And that's what I get sick and tired of, these fake people acting like they're advocating on behalf of homeless people. And I'm not talking about you, Councilman Thomas, and I'm not talking about you, Dr. White. I'm talking about some of these good liberal people who are out there in the community that's saying, leave them homeless people alone. Let them stay under the bridge. Let them stay in the encampment. Don't let them go to that shelter because it's a state shelter. Don't let them go to that shelter. There are some people categorizing and calling this shelter a concentration camp.
Well,
how disgusting is that? I'll leave you on
we're
that.
not those people.
Have to come on the show.
Yeah, we're not those people. And we look forward to this conversation with you because there has to be a what next. Because they're not going anywhere. Rep, thank you for calling in, man.
Thank you.
And I'm still coming back of town for my sweet potato pie.
Ain't no doubt about it.
I'm still going back of town for my sweet potato pie.
We got the puzzle master holding on. Should we get him now or break, Naira? We're going to break, and then when we come back, Puzzle Master, thank you so much for holding, man. Fire conversation, man.
And Candace Newell is also in the chat as well, so we're going to bring her comment to the microphone on the other side of the break.
Absolutely. Rep Newell, 504-582-9422. This on WBOK 1230, yeah?
The station you listen to all day long.
Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station.
Yeah.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Expect warmer and drier weather today, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 50s and low 60s. Tonight will fall to the 30s and 40s with staying dry. Warmer Friday with highs in the mid-60s. Chance for rain Saturday morning with highs in the 70s, but much cooler weather starts Sunday, lasting into next week. We're looking at a wintry mix potential starting on Tuesday. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month, a service of the community scientist and Rise St. James. This month, we're focusing on lead, a heavy metal that's dense, soft, and poses serious health risks. In Cancer Alley, lead exposure from industrial emissions or contaminated soil can significantly increase cancer risks and other health problems. Stay informed and protect your health. For more information, visit risestjames.org.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe. 60 minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
I'm about to say it, man. But we are back. Line number 1, Puzzle Master. Good morning. God bless you. On with Dr. Wyatt O.T. and the Early Bird. Thank you so much for holding.
Oh, wow. That's what carrying water means. So it looks like. Hello?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, good morning.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. Morning, WBOK
The Puzzle
family.
Master himself.
Good morning.
Thank you for holding. Man,
Yes,
help us
it is
make
no
sense
problem.
of this, bruh.
So, yeah, now I see why our Democratic Party in the state of Louisiana has no power. So, because we don't listen and they don't understand really the totality of the situation, i.e. piece number 1. We've always said on this station, at least I've always said, we black, okay? And we talk about the real issues. Meaning, we've always said on this station, Republicans always tell you, and when they get in power, their number 1 thing is to show you, I'm in charge, period. While the Democrats say, well, let's be quiet, let's, do that. No, because at the end of the day, what you don't understand, Representative, is this is just a piece of a bigger part of a puzzle. You have an attorney general that's making legal writs about a consent decree, and you're also investigating the same people. You have a governor that's coming in with a judge. We have a home rule charter is where I'm going with that. And if we don't get respect for our home rule charter, why we got to abide by the rules as citizens?
That's a good question. That's a question.
You wondering why you have people in the youth and everybody just doing what they want to do willy-nilly, but you put it out there in the public like, oh, they just wild, they need to be rounded up. No, because our representatives are showing you they don't care about rules and regulations and guidelines. And then you try to circumvent the system to make it look like we're doing the right thing for everybody for the long term, when that's a lie. Because representatives, whether you don't understand or know, the news report also said that the funding was only going to last until the Super Bowl.
What's next?
So again,
The foundation of the question was, what's next?
The point of our situation and our question and our whole
Break it
attitude
down, Al.
in this city is what is next for us. Because you forgot, this city, 504, New Orleans Parish, is
the crown jewel.
Come pick up your check.
The
Nick.
crown
Come pick
jewel.
up your check on Friday. Puzzle
Please,
Master.
you know what I'm saying?
The
So,
crown
and you
jewel.
always say, without so goes the New Orleans, so goes the state. Well, come on, man. So you mean tell me once again you just gonna walk all over us? You just gonna take our money? OT said years ago, this just a dirty little city you won't sleep with. You don't want nobody to know you're sleeping with. You do your thing and you get up and you go on about your business. You leave your money on the dresser and you go on about your business.
Puzzle Master.
Thank you, Puzzle
love
Master.
your times then. Happy New Year.
Listen, I mean, that's all we're saying. You've heard me say on this station over and over. So goes New Orleans, so goes the state. Those people understand that, right? And I don't ever want Representative Knox or anybody else to think that I'm against you. I'm not against you. I'm for you, and I'm for you making certain that they respect who you are to this city.
Absolutely.
You're an elected official, and you don't even have buy-in to the plan.
Absolutely.
Representative Candace Newell's statement said, the entire Orleans delegation has not been briefed on any of the plans from this administration. That's a problem.
Yeah, we were
That's a
actually
problem.
on your side, Rep.
We're absolutely. I don't ever want him to think I'm against him. Never.
No,
me and you can respectfully disagree, but I bet you if they come against you, I bet you're gonna see me say something about it.
And we're gonna be right there for
absolutely.
you, bro. Mr. James.
10 toes down.
Mr. James, good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to caution the brother and say that we although the last elections didn't represent, we tend to be a voting people when we mobilize and get behind something that we feel like is strong enough about. So you might want to watch your tongue and your tone. And second, we'll see you at the polls. If we can't do it, we're gonna sure push for our people to do it. Thank you.
And see, that's what it becomes, right? It becomes us having to make a decision that where is I'm telling you, it boggles my mind.
You
right?
never defend somebody else's mistake.
Because and it's always put on the shoulders of our leaders to have to answer for something that they didn't even create. Yeah. Rep Knox didn't create this problem.
No, he didn't.
But having an opinion such as his, when other people are hiding behind the media with their opinions and they're not talking to the people, they're talking to the media. And all of the information that I espoused on this show came from the article, where they were able to talk to the governor because the governor don't want to come here and talk to us. You understand what I'm saying? Because when he had the opportunity to talk on WBOK, the lines weren't open, so we couldn't have conversations
with him.
with
Has been one
him.
of the leaders in trying to solve
So
this
why
problem.
wasn't he included? That's the only point we're making.
Correct.
How do you come to my house and dictate how my furniture is arranged? That's all I'm saying.
Line number one, DJ. Good morning, DJ. God bless you, good brother. You're on with Dr. White.
Good morning. Good morning, UOC. Good morning, Dr. White, a.k.a. Sister Soldier, a.k.a. Wakavelli. I love the energy that you brought this morning. The issue is that this is what it all boils down to. Like you all said, so goes New Orleans, so goes the state. And
yes.
So the governor has a sense of entitlement because of that. And we as the city of New Orleans, we really have to figure out a way to take it back. He has no respect. He clearly has no respect for the city officials. So we have to make him respect us. We got to figure out how do we make this governor respect us, because he just operating carte blanche. He does whatever he wants. So there's something that we have to do. Well, the people are behind you all, elected officials, Knox, you, OT, Green, everyone, to really come up with a plan to show that we have a say-so. Because right now he cares absolutely nothing how we feel about the operating city. And apparently the Louisiana Supreme Court feels the same way. So we got to take a different direction on how we govern our own city because he's not able to do it.
That's a bigger picture. Thank you, good brother. Bless you, man.
That's the whole. That's why I love the listening audience because
our listening audience
when people are listening for the big picture,
very
right?
Sophisticated.
I'm not talking about you. This is a plan, and they have a soldier on every front of the plan, right? In every office, they have somebody fighting for their agenda. I don't want anymore to hear from our representatives what we can't do. I don't want to hear it because the rules don't matter no more. The charter don't matter. The Constitution don't matter. The laws don't matter. It's time for us to do what we have to do to protect our city. And that's just what it is.
Line number 2.
That's what it is.
Representative Candace Newell, good morning. God bless. Rep, you're on with Dr. Wyden OT.
Good morning, Councilman. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And the comment that I put in but it's just a
Rep, you're cutting in and out. Your connection is cutting in and out. We're getting every other word.
Other word. Now we lost you.
Yeah, the connection wasn't good. She might be trying to call back.
Now we lost you.
But the comment that Rep Newell made is to me the foundation of the issue. And like the last caller said, the governor feels he doesn't even have to include the government in this city to make a decision about this city because he feels he's the governor. He could just kind of do it and it just it goes however he says it should go. I think it's the ultimate disrespect. It's so disrespectful. Yeah, you might govern the state, but there's also leaders of this city. And I don't see him going after any other city trying to control it the way he's trying to control it here.
Well, first of all, thank you, Representative Newell, man. God bless you, man. Look, like Dr. Wyatt said, we stand 10 toes down with y'all for fighting for our city.
Yes, indeed.
And doing your work. This should never be us against us.
Yes.
This is what DJ said and what Alvin said. The puzzle master. This is how we're at what point do we have a level of respect and understanding in protecting our home rule charter? Now, I just got a text from Senator Bowie.
Yes.
Him and Rep. Willard are having a meeting today. And what they want to understand is, what's next?
God bless my senator. God bless my senator, baby. Because let me tell you something. If I ever wanted a soldier, I'm telling you, and don't let the age fool you. He living like that, and that's what I need. They need to replicate more of that man there.
That's their same question. Their same question is our primary concerns is to ensure that the integrity and quality of life for those residents and for their neighborhoods be maintained. And as such, we have reached out to the governor's office requesting details of the plan.
Is that not what I was asking? Maybe I should have asked Senator Dr. Joseph Bowie to draft.
You don't need nobody.
the eloquent way to say what I just
you know how your big brain knows how to do that.
Because I'm just, and I hate when people try to weaponize my emotion. Hell yeah, I'm emotional because this is about people. This is about a city, and this does not resemble the city that raised me. Because ain't no weak city raised me. You can't be this kind of woman if a weak city raised you. And all I want to understand is when is that city going to find its way back to the surface? Because somehow this is convoluted. And we got these people thinking they could control us and we going to just let them walk over us. They're sadly mistaken. Not all of us. Not all of us.
This is just one piece of the puzzle.
Not all of us. And I'm going to have something to say about every piece of the puzzle if it don't fit into the plan for my people. I'm going to have something to say about every piece of the puzzle.
WBOK.
Period.
12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Your station.
Yeah, it's our station. We'll be back after the break.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News.
Crews are making progress on the Los Angeles wildfires as winds die down. The Palisades fire is 21% contained and the Eaton fire is 45% contained. Over 80,000 people remain under evacuation orders, and hazmat crews will start clearing debris today. State Farm is canceling its Super Bowl ad to focus on helping customers affected by Southern California's wildfires. The company has faced criticism for not renewing some policies due to fire risk and has received thousands of claims. The FDA proposes a new rule for front-of-package labels showing levels of sodium, saturated fat, and added sugar to help shoppers make healthier choices. This would complement existing nutrition facts labels. And stocks closed sharply higher yesterday after a report showed inflation slowed. The Consumer Price Index for December rose by 3.2%, below expectations. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers had the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
we have that. Great segment.
Thank you.
Talk show, right?
Yeah.
What we do on the talk show?
We talk.
We talk about stuff.
Yeah, even the uncomfortable stuff.
But
like, yeah.
Thank you, Rep. Newell, for calling in, demanding accountability and conversations with our delegation.
Yes.
Thank you, Representative Knox.
Absolutely.
For calling. We look forward to you coming in and sitting with us when we have that what's next.
Yes.
And when thank you, Senator Bowie and Representative Willard.
That's my senator. Oh, that's my rep.
For asking for that powwow, that sit down, so that you can understand. Well, first of all, if there isn't a plan, you can't fix the problem and you can't help the people.
But if there's not a full plan, then you shouldn't make a move on
all
a
you're
plan.
spinning your
because
wheel.
Because we spending millions and millions to do a part of the plan, and then when we get to the juncture where it's like, what's next? Then we're what are we doing?
You don't want to waste the 19 million.
And that's all I'm saying.
Doc, take a deep breath.
Listen. Look, I'm good.
Yeah, I know you are.
I promise you, I'm very calm.
But I want. But I want to talk to you now, and I want to segue because I need your brain, right? Okay. And I know you give a damn. But what it didn't say, and what people don't understand about your passion and our passion here, that ain't just homeless people. They're homeless children and families that
yes,
are part
indeed.
of that.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
So if there isn't a what next, what happens to those kids that you want to educate? What happens to those young boys and girls?
But Oliver, even more so, right? Think about think about Katrina, right? We all one Katrina away from homelessness anyway.
Right.
The wildfires, like nobody woke up and thought their house was gonna burn to the ground. We all need somebody at some point in our life, and if we mishandle the least of us, I guarantee you, when it's your turn, don't be looking for no empathy or no sympathy from the very people that you let down when it was our turn.
Right.
Because that's all I'm saying. I don't understand how anybody don't realize every dog have a day. Every dog. And no matter what we say, we could think, okay, this is power and privilege, and we could do. The government, everybody else have to answer for the decisions that they're making.
So let me ask you
for vulnerable communities of people, whether this life or the next, you got to answer for the life you've lived.
So let me ask you a question.
And I don't want to be on the other side of the kingdom. That's just me.
But
though.
On this subject, let me ask you a question. And I know that education is your expertise, is your resume.
It used to be before they stopped me from getting a job.
Yeah.
It used to be.
When you rule the world, you're going to determine who works, though.
It used to be.
What would you have wanted to see when they rolled this out? What were some of the things and some of the questions and the answers that you would have been looking for just as a citizen?
Just as a citizen, there's nobody understands this city like the people who actually live
here.
and work
here.
and exist in this city every single day. Right. And so what happened to the consideration of our elected officials, because our elected officials are the people elected by the citizenry of this community. So my voice is supposed to be able to be magnified by my elected official. So what you're telling me is you're going to circumvent our elected officials, which in turn means you're circumventing the population of citizens who live here. So that means you didn't consider any of us in your decision. So how is it that you have a plan that works in the best interest of people when people were not considered in the decision? And what I mean by people is our elected officials, State Rep Knox, Rep Candace Newell, Senator Joseph Bowie, Councilman Oliver Thomas, all of our council people, Freddie King, everybody. Nobody knows the plan. Nobody understands what the what next is. Right. That's disrespectful to me, because you don't get to, that's like coming to my house and not even ringing a doorbell. He just bust the door down and just start doing what he wanted to do. Is disrespectful. And to think that we could make a decision about already vulnerable people who don't get to make many decisions for themselves anyway. And we have a plan to do something for, to house them in preparation for the tourists that are going to come here, because we don't want them to see the eyesore. But we see it every single day. Every single day. And again, if a blanket and a tent is all those people have, it's inhumane to snatch it and throw it away as if it's garbage, because to us it may be that, but to them it's everything. And that's just all I'm saying. What happened to the consideration of the city by way of our elected officials being involved in the decision-making process? Even if you weren't going to use my input, you could have at least had me at the table to give you my insight.
That was consistent with
where is the consideration?
And that was consistent with the callers. And a couple of the callers, they may not use their names, but I think I know who they are. And some are very conservative by nature. And one in particular that I know, his comments was, hey, man, look, this is bigger and deeper than just a homeless issue. It's about respect to home rule charter, respect to the people who work and live and the officials who represent the city. How do you make a move like that, right, without having consultation, without having collaboration? And then at the end of the day, each caller consistently said, Doc, and then the puzzle master, Alvin, was on point. What's next?
Yeah. But let me say this.
If we're serious about this issue, you have to answer that question.
And I'll say this too, because it's been in my brain the whole time we were talking about this. When you say they came for this, they came for that, then they come for you.
And they come for you.
I feel like if every time we allowed them to disparage New Orleans East, right? Because that's the plan, to keep dogging it and dogging it and dogging it. So businesses don't want to come. So entities don't want to be there, right? And you're dogging and you're dogging. But I watch certain demographics of people buying up property like crazy out in New Orleans East. So something is percolating, right? Somebody knows something about something. So you watch them dog it, right? And then all of a sudden, nobody wants to live there. Everybody, even folk who don't know nothing about the East, talk disparagingly about the East. You hear about crime, and if it's anywhere in proximity of the East gonna get the blame for it. That's all an agenda.
But now they're buying up all the property.
Plan. Yeah. So we watch them come for parts of our community, and we let them talk about it and disparage it, right? We watch them come for our school system. We watch them talk about it and disparage it, and they took it over. This is what they're doing.
Tremaine.
They make you think nothing is of value here, but why do you want it? I ain't never saw a thief break into an empty house. I ain't never saw it. What you gonna take? So if you're disparaging me and disparaging where I come from, but then all of a sudden you want it, then it couldn't have been that bad on the front end to begin with, right? Why you dog my city so bad, but you want it?
You want it.
You want it. You want to control it. Why? Go over there. Go to Bugaloosa. Got some good. Bugaloosa even sound nice. That sound like a good word. But it's not like that's a big, powerful word. Go over there.
Man, Tron got enough.
Go over
there. He balanced.
You know what I mean? But they don't want that either. They just want to put that black mayor in his place because he had the audacity to be black excellence, right? He had the audacity to be in leadership, and he ain't even 30. So they had to put him in his place. He was doing a little bit too. You was doing too much to not be mediocre, right? We don't want you to do this. So we gonna figure out a way to put you in your place. Why do they want the city if it's such a bad thing? If you dog it so bad,
because we about that.
But you want it. Why you want it? Leave us alone. Leave our culture alone. But if you leave us alone, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Because we rich.
They come here to see us, our people, our culture, our way of living, the way we say baby. I ain't never heard nobody ask them other folk to say baby. Nowhere. Say baby, Oliver.
I heard that, baby. I used to like the way Reverend Prophet Blakes used to say, "Come here, baby."
That's what I'm saying.
The late Prophet Blakes, man.
Ain't nothing like
Come
a
here,
black
baby.
New Orleans man calling you baby. You can't replicate that. That's what they mad about.
They're not calling us.
You
baby
are
right
the sauce. We are the sauce. Ain't no recipe without us.
Yes, we are.
So that's all I'm saying. So why I got to be the bad guy? Because I'm trying to protect my city.
Because you're trying to put some speck on.
Listen,
to put some speck on.
And I'm telling you right now, it ain't no coward in me.
Hey,
so
hey,
so there's that.
Hey, rep. Hey, rep. Hey, delegation. We for y'all, man. We love you. We love y'all.
10 toes down.
We really do.
And when I hold you accountable, it's out of love. If I ain't care about you,
if
I ain't care about you, I let you do what you want to do. If I'm really speaking to you, if I'm trying to say what I think to you, and I'm asking you to figure this out with us, then I care. Right. I care. I just want you to know I care. But we gonna go to war together.
Well, I think DJ Alvin broke it down.
Yeah.
And DJ specifically, he said, "Hey, man, at what point does our home rule charter get the respect it deserves from our state government now?"
Because what's the point of it, though, Oliver, if it doesn't have respect on it?
Then why are we here?
Yeah, what are rules? What are rules?
Correct.
What are rules?
What are rules?
Y'all want to hold our kids accountable to rules? What are rules?
Line number one. Gladys. Good morning, Gladys, man. You're on with OT, Dr. Wyatt, and the early bird.
Thanks for taking my call.
No, thank you for calling.
I love when you say that. Thanks for taking my call. You got it.
On the financial end, people in the future will come to New Orleans with equity. It's a matter of financial literacy that we don't have. You can have money in the bank, and you can have money investment in either stocks or real estate. And anytime New Orleans let a valuable piece of property in New Orleans sit vacant for decades, that shows people with money there's opportunity to be made on the high end and the low end, especially when you have money. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glad.
Listen, they have some really good insight in the chat. And I know Miss Alicia Plummer made a comment about when Representative Knox asked what's the alternative, she was talking about the charity building. And I just saw it. I don't know what, exactly verbatim what it is because I can't see it now, but I know it was in there somewhere. And she was saying about the charity building. And Rep Knox came back and said that might be, a good thing to consider. Because why is that building sitting, to the last caller's point, sitting vacant? And it is my understanding that it's pristine on the inside of it. A whole lot of, cleanliness and things of that nature going on in that building. What is that building's purpose right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why was that building not considered when we talk about housing people humanely, right? And offering these services? Right. Because that was the first time from Rep Knox that I heard about wraparound services, because every article I read regarding the warehouse and the pictures I've seen regarding that wasn't mentioned. So that was some information that I didn't have. And that will be great if these services are offered. But again, are they going to only be offered temporarily? And then when Super Bowl is over, what are the next steps for that? So I mean, that's just all I'm saying. On the front end of it, I wish that we could see the blatant disrespect And when somebody comes into your place and makes decisions for you without consulting you or considering you, I view that as disrespectful, right? And then on the back end of it, when we're talking about moving folk from one community to another and not considering the constituency of both communities or the leadership of both communities, that is disrespectful to me. We have to figure out a plan, but figuring out a plan involves the consideration of all the people who are going to be directly impacted by the plan's outcome.
Well, there's no doubt about it.
They're coming in. Our guests
they're coming.
coming
good,
in.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, good. Look, let's go to break now so we can prepare then, please, if y'all don't mind. We got to put some stuff together. And let's go to line. No, let's get our speakers first. Line number 1, Miss Alicia, you're on with Dr. Wide and OT.
Good morning, Councilman. Also, Doc.
Good morning.
First off, I said, out of sight, out of mind. And that is so wrong. And for the representative to say it's an industrial area, I'm like, what? And if I'm not mistaken, there used to be one of the shipbuilding warehouses. My concern also is the fact that how are they living? Do they have separate showers? Do they have bathroom facilities and not a porta potty? I can't do porta potties. I can't do a bathroom on an airplane. I can't do a bathroom on a bus, and I can't do a bathroom on a train. So I don't even understand how they're really accommodating the people. But as far as Charity Hospital, we have recommended that long before when it was first advertised in Charity for its redo. And I don't think anything's going to happen now because developers have run out of money. But Charity was the place for the housing of the homeless, and with the things that I said, education, job skills training, detox services, medical and psychological services, social services. That was the best place for it, and it is pristine. I went in there, before they had turned the contract over to these developers, and it is. If y'all remember General Honoré, they cleaned it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They cleaned it up. So, and there are other medical buildings down there that was attached to the charity services that are vacant that they could have used instead of putting people out there, in the industrial area. And remember, industrial is the opposite.
Yeah, that was the key word.
Thank you, Ms. Alicia.
Line number 2, Ken Jones. Ken, you're on with Dr. Wide and OT.
Good morning, Dr. Wide. Good morning, OT.
Good morning.
Well, Charity is a very large facility. It's 1 million square feet. I don't know, even if it's pristine, if they can get the stuff up and running timely. But more importantly, they didn't want the guys down there. Bottom line is, this is about the Super Bowl. This is about money. And what they're doing is moving them out of the area. Temporary warehouse. You can't put people by law in warehouses. That's where the phrase warehousing people comes from. I don't have enough time to go into that because I know you guys are up against a break shortly. So that's a different time, different conversation. However, health and safety allows them to move people ultimately. But the whole point is, why are you doing this? And nobody's talked to the city council. The representative was very upset about what he thought. Other people were saying, I want to see if he's going to have that kind of juice against the governor and the attorney general. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I don't know this guy from Adam, but we got to see what's going to happen. Ultimately, what is the long-term plan? Because it's a matter of resources. How much are you going to put and where are you going to put it? It's a lot of demagogue and a lot of grandstanding. Now, on WWL, which I happen to listen to because I want to know what they're talking to those folks about, because they're not talking to us. They talked about the wraparound services. Colonel got on and he was going into it, but he was very evasive, even with Tommy Tucker, saying what the long-term forecast was for this. So the real question is, how do we do, what do we do with it, and what's going to happen? And that's something that I'd like to see the council be unified behind and the state delegation be unified behind.
Thank you, Ken.
So hopefully something changes and happens.
Thank you, Ken.
Appreciate that. Absolutely, man. Hey, man, I love our listening audience.
Yes.
Hey, guys, so let's segue to Dr. Alan Salarian. World Honesty Day is in the studio with us. Doc, welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Thank you. Thank you. I cannot tell you how grateful I am and honored I am to be your guest. This is I'm doing something very exciting, I think, for the city and for the world, and to have the chance to talk about it. Thank you.
Well, Dr. White and I are equally as honored to have you
Yes.
And your guest with you in the studio. So, first of all, what is World Honesty Day, and how did you get to be the president of it, Dr. Solarian? Solarian is the right way to pronounce it?
Yeah.
Doc, go ahead.
You can call me Alan. Here is, it started with the Team Kennedy and my friendship with the Kennedy family. I've been a researcher of Kennedy assassination and a few other things. And interestingly and sadly, I got into trouble because of my research findings. To make a long story short, Kennedys have been my friends. And Team Kennedy came up with this wonderful term, make America healthy again. Wonderful term. But then I said, how can we be healthy if we're not honest? You know, it's to be healthy, we must be honest. So that was really the beginning of the thought that turned out to be then two things. One, a conference be organized and bringing the best of the best JFK researchers to talk about bad things that happen to heroes, American heroes, from MLK to RFK to JFK and others, and how they were silenced, and what made them so great and so special. Each one of them left their mark on history, but they were silenced. And 60 years later, we're still not allowed to talk about what really happened, that it remained a government secret. So now the conference is about very serious things of examining our past and understanding and learning from it. Then comes the celebration, because there are a lot of lessons that we learn from the bad things that happen. Okay? And the good thing, the main lesson that we learn is everything happened because of dishonesty. All right. And what kind of dishonesty? Governmental organized dishonesty. If we look at the history, actually, even before the Kennedy assassination and MLK assassination, we come to one basic conclusion, that governmental honesty matters. And we have to make sure that around the world, people are aware of this, that we expect our governments to be honest. That's the message of our beautiful World Honesty Day, to convey the message that we want and celebrate. And, you know, I have a good imagination. I put this thing together where I said, why not 10 million people all around the world and 1,000 churches and temples sing and play Beethoven's Ode to Joy, okay? Ode to Joy has a meaning, okay? It's, by the way, it's the European Union's national anthem. So it's their U.S. Constitution. But Ode to Joy, put all these things together. The meaning is equality, peace, hope. And what city can be better to host this than New Orleans, especially after the tragic events of Bourbon Street? So on March 16th, we're going to have an event, and New Orleans will be the center, Bourbon Street will be the center, where we're going to play Beethoven's Third Symphony, Ode to Joy, for 2.5 minutes. And at the same time, thousands of churches and mosques, synagogues, and people and schools, bands will be joining.
Dr. Solarian, it says on the internet that World Honesty Day is going to be February 16th. You're saying it's going to be March? Is it changed to March? It says
Yes.
So it's going to be.
That's the old
it's
one,
going to
yeah.
be March 16th, 2025. Not February
Actually,
16th.
thank you for pointing that out.
Okay.
Because of the unfortunate terror event, we had to take certain measures. That's why we delayed about a month to give, because it's an open event and it also invites trouble.
So for our listening audience, what can we do to support this day? Well, what are you expecting from us out there, so everyone out there listening? How do we?
To let people know, go to the site and to let people know and come and join us. It's a celebration and it's symbolic. Imagine how excited I am that I now have churches from Armenia. I have churches from Istanbul. I have churches from Athens, Greece, California. Okay. These people are volunteering and making a commitment. And the option is, if you're a church and if you have bells, you can ring the bells, have a good time. If you don't have bells, you can just have your kids or the congregation sing together. And always the spirit, the spirit is the 10 Commandments, or the to joy, that's how I see it. The 10 Commandments and the U.S. Constitution, they're all the same. About equality, about justice, fairness, hope, and peace. And peace. Now, the first part on February 15th, we have the serious conversation, serious discussion. This is a conference at Ritz-Carlton, by the way. I hope you come. I hope you join us. It's a great event. The best of the best JFK scholars will be there to examine so that we learn from our past mistakes and let people know what happened. And I combine it, I'm a painter at the same time, so my paintings tell the sad stories.
Yeah.
So, Doc, when you talk about all of these different entities coming together to make a joyful noise together on that day, is there a designated time for this to happen, or they're choosing to do it at
we're going to do 1 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. New Orleans time.
Okay.
But around the world, 1 p.m. local time.
So at 1 p.m. we could expect to hear all of this coming together.
Yes.
1 p.m. on, what was it, March 15th?
March 16th.
March 16th.
It's a Sunday.
Okay.
March 16th.
And so when we talk about that, like, how do you think National Honesty Day helps balance out the mischief associated with April Fool's Day is the question. So what does that do for the juxtaposition of those 2 days?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, so I guess what I meant was in terms of National Honesty Day. So when you think about what that means, is that you want to silence your phone? We apologize. I could have told you to silence your phone before. It's okay. When you think about National Honesty Day, I guess, is there like an oath that folk take on that day, like a pledge or anything that they take on that day in terms of what that day means? Do you have that as well?
Yeah, the pledge is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
The pledge is all about honesty and the 10 Commandments, the spirit of 10 Commandments, and the spirit of the U.S. Constitution. We want our governments to honor the U.S. Constitution and to honor the 10 Commandments. What does 10 Commandments say? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't kill. As simple. And our Constitution support that. Okay? Here, with MLK, JFK, RFK, and also, I should include, the war on doctors that victimized so many people. Okay, our own government have not respected the U.S. Constitution, has not respected the Ten Commandments. I believe that we have evolved so much that we can, not only in America, all around the world, expect our governments to be transparent and to have governmental integrity and to open up. I cannot accept that 60 years later, we're still not allowed to know what happened to MLK, RFK, JFK, and the truth. And we have excuses. No more excuses. Come on. We're the people. This is our Constitution. And these people also, symbolically, we're choosing and examining the lives, the greatness of these people. Why is JFK great? All right? Not many people realize this. JFK is great for two things, maybe more. But number one, he prevented nuclear disaster. Okay? JFK. If he had not overruled his own generals, we would have been nuked by Russians because our own generals were telling the president, go and nuke.
We would have nuked each other.
Yeah. Okay. And you would not have been around, I would not have been around, period. 1/3 of America is gone. We came that close, and it took a courageous president. He tried to prevent the Vietnam War. He was a visionary. He said no. That's one of the reasons they took him down. But I come down to it that, hey, it's treason, it's treachery, it's violation of the Constitution that we killed him. The same thing. Why is MLK so great as a world leader? Because at a very tough time, he was defending the U.S. Constitution, he was defending the Ten Commandments, and doing it through a peaceful way.
Promoting humanity. Dr. Alan Salarian, how can people get in touch with you? Is there a website, email, a phone number? And also we want to encourage people, when you're supporting World Honesty Day, use a hashtag National Honesty Day on all social media. How can they reach out? Is there email or website?
Currently, we're soon going to have a World Honesty Day. We're changing it. Until now, everything has been under my name, which is Alan Salarian, SalarianArt.com is where you go to get, and then push the World Honesty Day.
You promise to come back and share with us again in the future?
Oh, I'll be honored.
Thank you, Dr. Salarian, man. God bless you. We appreciate you guys. If you're going to be anything,
be honest.
Be honest. WBOK 1230
No, I think, may I say, people are honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we are people. We're human. So there are a lot of times we're not honest.
Yeah.
Okay, we all. This is a human thing.
Yeah.
But we can expect, we must expect our governments to be honest. 100%. There is no exception. That's the message.
World Honesty Day. Dr. Alan Salarian, March 16, 2025. Let's support World Honesty.
SalarianArt.com.
Yeah, no doubt about it. WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
And whose station?
Our station.
This proves it's our station. We'll be back after the break.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A bicyclist is dead after being hit by a car in Mid-City. We're told this happened on Tulane Avenue near South Lopez Street around 10 p.m. Investigators say a woman died from her injuries. We're told the driver who hit her stayed at the scene. Right now, it's unclear what caused the deadly collision. Then the fate of the long-blighted Plaza Tower could be determined today. City leaders say they have been trying to get inside the building for inspections, but those efforts were halted by a lawsuit. All of this with the Super Bowl just weeks away. A circuit court judge is expected to rule on if the building can be cleared for inspection later today. And in federal court, a key player in the Stage Rex investigation is expected to change his plea from not guilty to guilty. Ryan Harris was charged with witness tampering linked to the killing of a federal witness. He is accused of working with local lawyers to stage wrecks and collect fraudulent insurance payouts. Sources say if Harris changes his plea, it could mean he's cooperating with the feds against others who have been charged. And finally, a benefit concert is happening tonight at the Dewdrop Inn for victims of the Bourbon Street terror attack. Trombone Shorty, PJ Morton, and many others will perform starting at 6 o'clock. That's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My co-host, Oliver O.T. Thomas, is also in the building. And right now, we're getting ready to jump into conversation with Kevin Ferguson, the Vice President of External Affairs and Membership at New Orleans and Company. I also want to say a huge thank you to Dr. Solera for joining us on the last segment and talking to us about World Honesty Day. But right here in the building with us right now is Mr. Kevin Ferguson. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Dr. White. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always exciting to come in the WBOK studios and speak to your great audience.
Listen, absolutely. I enjoy having off-air conversation with our guests as well. And when we were talking off-air, you were telling me what your role was and what does that look like, big picture for you. So what do you do? What does that mean, Vice President of External Affairs and Membership at New Orleans and Company? What do you do in plain terms?
I will do the best I can. I've been there 3 years, and I'm still trying to figure it out a little bit. But I always like to share our mission with people. Mission of New Orleans and Company is to inspire, promote, encourage travel to our city for the economic, community, and social benefit of New Orleans and its people. And I always frame it that a lot of the work my department does is really on the back half of that equation. How do we make sure that tourism is really delivering value to our residents, to our community, to our businesses. And some of that's directly through membership in New Orleans and Company and really having access to tap into that. But we look at a number of other initiatives that really support quality of life, from public safety, homelessness, supplier diversity, workforce development, a number of areas where we really believe that if we make the city work and better for residents, it's also better for visitors.
So the whole world knows by now that we endured a terrorist attack just recently. And so despite the recent tragedy, how does New Orleans maintain its reputation as a welcoming and resilient city for tourists and locals alike?
I think what's been incredible for me to see in the wake of this, I think unfortunately New Orleans has, suffered tragedies before, nothing on the level of a terrorist attack, but you always see our community really rally together. And I think what's been incredible, even beyond our own community, is seeing the incredible support we've gotten across the country, internationally. I can't tell you, every day there's an email in my inbox from organizations we work with that are national or global, people reaching out to wish us well, wanting to know what they can do to support. And so I think for us, step one obviously is to recognize the tragedy of this event, share our condolences and really memorialize those lives that were lost. And then as we're doing that, we're also seeing how we can support the people here that were really impacted by that. Obviously the victims' families, also the folks within the industry, the folks that witnessed that, supporting our first responders that were there for it. And then as we get through that period, it's really about making sure that we fulfill our role, which is to make sure that New Orleans is the shining spot for the world.
So let's talk about the response, because there are different levels of response. There are responses in terms of security, who's on first, who's in charge, how do you answer those questions, and then there's your industry. So, and each response isn't necessarily the same because you represent different constituencies. So what is the tourism industry response?
I think for us, a large part one is making sure that people are okay. So there's been a tremendous amount of effort. I want to give the City Department of Office and Nighttime Economy a lot of credit. Director Mike Entz has really been working on the ground, checking in with all those businesses that were in the proximity. We've done some outreach to making sure workforce that was traumatized by some of those events and impacted or supported. And again, talking about the community, I had a great call with one of our members, Chef Amy Sands. She's working to do a webinar, I think it might have happened yesterday, really about how to deal with some of the stresses that come from that. And then also bringing in, I'm going to butcher the acronym, but therapeutic animals to meet with first responders, to meet with folks in the workforce that were impacted. We've been working with a number of partners, United Way, Greater New Orleans Foundation, to get financial assistance out there. The SBA has been a great partner, really setting up some centers to discuss with businesses economic disaster recovery loans. So we've been communicating that out. A great effort by LRA and some of the businesses in the French Quarter as well to really create a kind of a dining special through the 19th that, again, those funds are going to help benefit.
So let's talk about the tone and tenor there. I think the Wall Street Journal article early on, and people from around the world were like, especially those of us who supported pulling for us, they were saying, hey, look, it's really important to kind of get back to normal as soon as possible. Not to drag on the misery and the despair, not to send these messages around the world that we can't handle it. But here we're talking about emotional events and stuff. How do you do both, and at what point because I move around the city and it's looking pretty normal.
Yeah, it's certainly a challenge, and I think you want to be respectful. You want to recognize what happened in those tragic loss. But I think what we know, one of the things the terrorists are trying to accomplish, right, is to impact our way of life, to instill fear in people about the things that we do every day in this country. And so part of that response is to show that, hey, we're not going to be deterred by that this is a city that is welcoming for everyone. We're going to continue to do that. This is a city that is known for its incredible hospitality and its spirit. We want to continue to exhibit that. And then, the reality is, this impacts a lot of people. Obviously the folks in the lives that were lost, but for the city to shut down or to not be what it is, that's just not something we can do. We've been through a number of challenges before, and you always want to address those challenges and be able to have solutions and improvements, whether it's Katrina, whether it's COVID, but you also need to get things going again, because we know that folks need to work, folks need to be there, and the city needs to continue to be.
So is that
what
a
it is.
different marketing plan now? To come here, get some gumbo, enjoy authentic Afro-Caribbean culture, music, food, 24/7 city, but be safe?
Well, we always want to communicate safety, so we've got a visitor safety statement that says on our website. I think
Is that being amended now?
Oh, it's constantly amended, so on a monthly basis.
Okay.
But we've added some more information about certainly what folks can do to support the city and the victims, but also what is happening. So we're in constant conversation with city leadership and really communicating these safety protocols to visitors, our clients, which are the conferences and conventions that come here, partners like the NFL that are coming here, obviously for Super Bowl. And so that's kind of a constant conversation.
Yeah, and I asked that question because we've been notified by, we had people listen here, many online all over the world. We had some folk up in Europe and in Spain, Australia, who will visit the show, especially once they've got a little taste of Dr. Wyatt.
It's all OT. That's all OT.
And some of the spice that she brings to the show. So we just want to make sure that we're sending out. I mean, New Orleans is still New Orleans.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And with New Orleans being in your name, what role does New Orleans and Company play in supporting the local infrastructure here? Because we know we're big on the tourism piece, right? But the locals drive tourism as well. So what are we doing to ensure that the local aspect of it is also uplifted?
Well, as I said earlier, one of our core philosophies is, the things that impact our residents impact visitors. And so we always try to engage.
I'm glad you said that. Say that again. Say that again.
I'm proud to say it again. We believe the things that impact our residents impact our visitors.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about public safety, public transportation, infrastructure, quality of life, accessibility, sustainability, if you have a city that works for its residents, by extension, it's going to work for its visitors.
You might be on a shout out to Wola. So how is New Orleans planning to highlight its unique culture during Super Bowl 59 related events and Mardi Gras festivities?
So I think what's been incredible, I've had the benefit of being engaged with some of these collective meetings of city government, state government, local nonprofits and organizations that are really coming around with planning for Super Bowl, Mardi Gras, these back-to-back major events. And that's always been a focus. How do we represent it authentically? How do we provide opportunities for people to be engaged? And, I know there's a new mural that just went up yesterday. Or it's not complete yet, but to see that, to engage local artists in those things, to engage local artists into the events that are going to be happening down at the French Market, which is going to be kind of an expression of Louisiana culture, to see the Arts Council and other entities come together and say, hey, we've got opportunities, not just to beautify the city, but to really tell the story about the culture and the history here by employing local artists, employing local musicians for these events. And we're really trying to kind of play a role of connecting with that. So we work with our partners at the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, really trying to engage local businesses and members with these opportunities. So whether it's transportation companies, caterers and restaurants, venues, trying to make sure that we're representing well when these visitors are coming here and that we're getting that business, so they have those local companies participating and have a part of it is huge.
I'm going to lean in when I ask you this next question because I think it's important for people to hear, because all of the things you hear about New Orleans, I'm being told that New Orleans is being recognized as one of the top destinations for 2025. Can you talk to us about that?
We've had an incredible run of success, both as a leisure travel destination as well as a conference and convention destination. I think one of the things that we're all proud about is that this is a smaller city that really outpunches its weight on a national level. So when you talk to Jay Cicero and the Sports Foundation folks, they've got charts. They'll show you how we stack up against the other cities that are hosting Super Bowls.
It's really a one-of-a-kind place. We are one of one.
Yes.
One of one. And I think that is what is exemplified every time the culture of New Orleans is talked about. You can't replicate the culture that's here and have it anywhere else. You understand what I'm saying? Like you can only get New Orleans flavor in New Orleans. You've ever been to a city and they're like, this is New Orleans flavor gumbo. And you like, you can only get that in New Orleans unless there's a New Orleanian grandmother somewhere in that kitchen, right?
There are a lot of fine restaurateurs across the country, Dr. Wyatt. And when I visit cities, I usually make decisions not to go to some of the New Orleans or Cajun places, because I don't want to give them that
disappoint yourself, huh? You want to like that? Like, nah, what is this? Somebody burned the roof, right? What is this? So let's talk about more of that. Like, how has the local tourism and business community come together to support the city in the aftermath of the terrorist attack, but in preparation for Super Bowl 59?
So we've continued to try to be leaders and make sure that we're there to support and communicate a lot of information that's coming from the city. I know Walt and Kelly on our team, especially those days after, were doing an incredible job representing the city, telling our story, and really telling folks that, you know, we're going to recover from this. We're going to make sure that we are ready to continue to be an incredible city that can host events, that can host visitors, and did a number of interviews with that. One thing I do want to highlight, there's a great effort going on now through the 19th. If you dine at a number of French Quarter restaurants, money is going into the Victims Fund to help support recovery afterwards. Folks can find more information about that on our website, neworleans.com. And that effort is led by Louisiana Restaurant Association, so I want to make sure I highlight them on that.
So on neworleans.com, you can find a list of restaurants in the French Quarter area that is donating back to the people impacted by the terrorist attack.
That is correct.
So go to neworleans.com, find a list of restaurants, guys. If you eat at this restaurant, a portion of those proceeds go to help the families of the victims of the terrorist attack. I think that's an amazing thing to do. And I think we're best at that. Like, New Orleans has always wrapped its arms around New Orleans when we have to find our way back from tragedy. I think we need to get rid of the word resilient. I think we're tired of having to be resilient, but all in all, we are a protective people, and we know how to wrap our arms around each other when it needs to happen. And so, I guess, my question too will be, that's good to know, because that means that the tourism industry is also trying to give back in terms of helping us get back on our feet in the wake of what took place.
Oh, and also, you know, I have the benefit in my role. I work with a lot of our HR professionals. We've got bi-monthly HR committee meetings. We are constantly looking at ways that we can help support our residents, because our residents are our workforce, right? So
Absolutely.
if that's, you know, more access to transportation, if that's looking at things like discounted or free parking for hospitality workers, that's been a project we've been working on for a while, again, with the Office of Nighttime Economy. You know, we've just recently launched a online training program for hospitality workers. So really this is evergreen. You know, we host so many events and major things, but also with Super Bowl and Mardi Gras coming up, we wanted to do something special to get people excited, to deliver excellent service, to remind them of the things they already know. We've got a great industry, but this program is just to remind them of those things. That's available on our website, on our community site, community.neworleans.com, for any hospitality workers that want to take part in it. There are weekly prizes for completing the modules, so I want to make sure folks are aware of that. But we're excited. You know, this is an industry that always works hard, and with Super Bowl coming up and Mardi Gras, there's so much going on. We just want to make sure that the folks in our industry are taken care of, that our residents are excited about it as well.
So what is New Orleans company doing? Because that's the company you work for, but it also says, what steps is New Orleans taking to enhance the global reputation as a built-to-host city for major sports events, conventions, and other large-scale gatherings?
We've got a tremendous marketing team.
You lit up when I asked you that question, by the way. I guess you was like, oh, I know that.
I always get excited. You know, a lot of my work is really focused on what's happening in the city, but certainly support the entire team that brings that message to the world. Okay. So, you know, we're hosting literally hundreds of journalists and influencers every year. We're working with international media. We've got representation in 11 different countries to really tell the story of New Orleans, to work granularly with tour operators that are bringing groups of people internationally to the city. We've got a couple of our members that are doing a mission next week. They're heading to France to continue that work, meeting with a number of our clients over there, our representation over there, some tour operators, international press, also continuing the relationship we built with the team from Bocuse d'Or, which was an incredible event that we hosted last year and that we're excited about hosting again. And so to continue to build that, to bring that message to the world. But, you know, our team is on the sales side really does tremendous work. So they're engaging clients around the country to come host their conferences and conventions here. Last year, our team was responsible for 1,100 conferences and conventions that happened in New Orleans in 2025. And so a ton of great partners. We work with our hotel partners. About half of what we book ends up there. The other half ends up at the convention center, which are obviously close partners as well. But you know, those things don't just happen. And those meetings range in size from 30 to 13, 14, 16,000. So the team is constantly working. We booked our first conference for the year 2040 at the end of last year.
2040.
That's how far out the team works, especially for some of the larger conferences.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to kind of be in rotation every so often. So it's always good to give people a little insight into that. But the team does incredible work. There's not a week that goes by that we don't have journalists, conferences, conventions happening in the city. And so we're continuing to do that. And again, the focus is how do we do that for the benefit of our city? So even beyond the tax revenue and the things that really support what happens in the city, we try to get more engaged on issues, again, like homelessness, working with Councilmember Harris and Nathaniel Fields at the Office of Homeless Service and Strategy on that Home for Good project, which has housed 822 people since September. Our team recently worked with DPW and some other partners to conduct a full accessibility assessment of the French Quarter, streets, sidewalks, corner ramps, curb cuts, continuing to work with the city Office of Resilience and Sustainability on projects like Recycle.at. So last year we recycled over 10 tons of beads, plastic, aluminum, and glass from the Mardi Gras recycling route, and we're hoping to do more this year. And so those efforts, among many others, are really part of the work that we do at our core to make sure that we're supporting the city. And that
I'm
we're
learning so
moving
much about what New Orleans and Company does. It's a breath of work.
that is why I love to come on this air, Dr. White.
And you have to come back. I feel like we didn't have enough time to talk about all of the pertinent things because I absolutely would like to touch on that homeless piece, because of what is happening around us in terms of our unhoused population. So do you promise to come back at some point in the future?
I will come back whenever you'll have me.
Well, listen, if you're just joining us here, we were in conversation with Kevin Ferguson, the Vice President of External Affairs and Membership at New Orleans and Company. I want to thank you for spending part of your morning with us, and we'll see you again sometime soon, right?
Definitely.
Well, listen, I also want to give a shout out to Dr. Solarian for joining us as well, talking about World Honesty Day. And as always, I want to give a shout out to the WBOK listening audience. You guys are dynamic, but stay with us for the front porch. Up next, we're Greeland and Kimber. But as for me and the Good Morning Show, we're going to see y'all tomorrow. This is WBOK 1230 a.m. what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update.